All right, greetings and salutations to everybody in YouTube land. I'm your host once again, Dan Thornton. I want to thank you all for tuning in today to Lions Talk Live. You know, we're going to kick off just a couple minutes early today, just so I can get things going. And when the hour wraps up, I got a couple extra minutes to get some other work-related things done. But anyways, if you just a couple things before we get going and shaking with this, you know, the stuff we normally have to do to start the show. If you're new to Lions Talk Live, please consider subscribing. Making a push to get to 5,500 subs, you know, if we can, maybe before the kickoff this weekend. Want to say we're about 90 subs away, so if you can help out with that, I surely would be thankful. Also, if you're enjoying today's show or any of the other shows you find on Lions Talk Live YouTube channel, feel free to hit that thumbs up button, that like button. It helps out the channel. One last thing, outside of being a coach, a YouTuber, or a scout, I am a realtor. Have been for about a little over 30 years now. So if you're looking for property, a house, vacant land, commercial property, maybe a restaurant, maybe, whatever it may be, if it's in the state of Michigan, feel free to give me a call, shoot me a text, 269-998-2384, Upper Peninsula, Lower Peninsula, wherever it is in the state of Michigan, I can help you out and try to save you some money. If you're outside of the state of Michigan, also feel free to contact me. Maybe I can figure a few things out and help you make your transition into whatever purchase you're making or selling a little bit easier. All right, now a bunch of news came out yesterday. I know I got on the mic with you guys during some coaching breaks yesterday. We knew a couple days ago Isaiah Buggs was being let go. Yesterday, the Lions made another roster move with Bruce Irving being let go. We'd all talked. You guys speculated. I speculated what this means, and it does seem they're making roster moves to bring back Mcneil, who looks like he's going to play at least a limited amount of snaps this particular weekend against Minnesota, and also C.J. Gardner-Johnson. Gardner-Johnson, I think, is an absolute win for us as far as getting him out there in meaningful situations, because it's going to allow Aaron Glenn and the coaching staff, let's be fair, to get basically a dress rehearsal before the playoffs to figure out what kind of situations they're going to use them in, you know, who's going to be in and out, different packages they're going to use with, different aspects of the third portion of the defense, so the secondary. The other thing, I'm sure I'm not giving you any spoiler alerts, but the Lions have got a pretty good defense the last month or so. One of the few weaknesses they have is the number 2 cornerback position. And I know you guys and I have all talked about it for some time. What's going to happen when Gardner-Johnson comes back? Are we going to move Brian Branch to the number 2? Maybe Gardner to the number 2 slot? You know, we do have some flexibility now. Ife Malafanu, does he get moved back to corner? You know, I think this is going to be one of the big things the Lions coaching staff from a defensive standpoint wants to get out of this game. We know Nick Mullins is going to be the starting quarterback from Minnesota. You know that they have a little bit of a chance to still make the playoffs. But with that all being said, there's a lot of moving parts still in the NFC as far as the playoff picture. The Lions are going to try to play to win, as we have all talked about this week, for one simple reason. It keeps the onus and the pressure on the Cowboys and Philadelphia. They've got to go out there, and they both have got to win. Otherwise, if they both lose, the Lions are the number 2 seed. The Green Bay Packers are going to be facing the Chicago Bears. As we probably all know, if the Packers lose, man, at that point, we could face Seattle. We could face potentially New Orleans. You know, there's a bunch of different opportunities which would then present itself as to who we would host in the playoffs. We know that the Rams are basically going to sit a lot of their starters on offense and defense. So what will happen in that game? Who knows? Will the 49ers end up winning? If they do, you know, there's a real good chance the Rams aren't coming to Detroit. So this weekend is going to have a ton of meaningful football for us all to sit and digest. Now, with that all out of the way being said, let's see what you guys have to say. Robert G., I'd like to know how maybe I'd like to know how Maben made the Pro Bowl. Is he really that good on special teams? Yes. I don't really think he made it for any other reasons, but yes, he is a special teams ace there, Robert. All right, Aaron, do you think Bridgewater will get some playing time this week? You know, that's a great question, Aaron, because while MCDC said, hey, everybody's playing, he did not give any kind of indications on how long anybody's going to play. Are they going to play to win? Are they going to play to potentially get the number 2 seed like I talked about just a moment ago? That's the part I don't know. I think if the game, starts getting one way or the other, maybe there does come a point where the Lions coaching staff says, "Hey, we're going to go ahead and let Bridgewater and some of the backups get some meaningful minutes out here." It's really just going to come down to MCDC's discretion. I get the idea from a coaching standpoint. Hey, you want the team going in as fired up, feeling good, confident, assured as possible. Go ahead and do that and get them moving into the postseason, ready to go beat up on whoever they're going to face in the first round. So we'll see. Could he get maybe the second half? Sure. Could it just be a quarter? That's also possible. I don't think Hendon Hooker is going to get in, but if he does, it's probably going to be on a limited basis, maybe just the fourth quarter or something. But again, that's all going to come down to MCDC's discretion. All right, Southwest, I think they'll find a way to put Bridgewater into the game, even if it's just a kneel down snap. Yeah, it could be. It is going to be potentially his last game where he's going to have an opportunity to get out there. God, willing that nothing happens to any of the starters for Detroit. So, yeah, it could be one of the final chances for him to get out there. Brother Ken, greetings, Coach Dan and family from the Mile High City. Good morning to you, Brother Ken. Hopefully you're having a good one. I know it's incredibly early where you're at. Robert, greetings and salutations. Same to you, my friend. Michael, Detroit needs to start scoring quickly to get the key players rest and back up some valuable playing time. I'd agree with that. If the opportunity presents itself, it's really going to all come down to just how much Detroit wants to go for this win. And I get the idea of keeping the onus on the Cowboys and Eagles, because if you don't play for the win and then you find out both of those teams lose later in the day, yeah, you'd be regretting that for sure. All right, Brother Ken, Roger Cattell just said that he has the back of all the NFL officials and supports them. All right, well, good for him. He's toting the company line, right? All right, Michael, my question is, how serious is J-Mo's ankle? I doubt if it's uber, big. Do I think he plays this weekend? Probably not. Why not rest it up? But the way you saw him hopping around on the sideline after he rolled the ankles, I don't think it's anything too egregious. But why not just do your due diligence, let him rest, get other guys some snaps, and get him all set and ready. Don't force it for the playoffs. But we'll see what happens. All right, Robert G, sounds like it's all hands on deck for the win Sunday. Yeah, and different coaches have different philosophies. I get the idea. Hey, you still got something to play for. You still want to work out some things, especially as I alluded to on the defensive side with the Mcneil coming back. And I get he's going to play probably very limited snaps. But with Gardner Johnson, the secondary, I totally get why you want them out there, because you don't want to have to figure things out with your rotations and different packages in a playoff game. You want to do it in this game. And from that standpoint, totally get it. Totally get it. Robert, I'm a Rod snubbed. I think a little bit. Yeah, for sure. The problem he runs into is just look at all the really top of the line receivers in the NFC that got nods ahead of him. At some point, you're splitting hairs. I'm real surprised he didn't get it, but they didn't ask me. So he still may ultimately get it, but yeah, I'm just surprised he did not get in. All right, Southwest, the NFL is not going to admit the officials messed up, especially considering that they are installing Brad Allen's crew for the Steelers-Ravens game on Saturday. Yeah, they're not going to come out and do it. No different than any other point in history when a bad call has happened. They're not going to come out and do it, because to do so from their standpoint, I totally get it. You got to make sure that you support everybody. It's somebody else's problem. That way you can address it quietly behind closed doors and not embarrass the officials, because whether we all want to admit it or not, if you don't have officials, these games don't work. And yes, there is a shortage even at the professional level for officials, and not just in the NFL, in the NBA, in Major League Baseball. I think we all assume there are tons of people trying to get those jobs. And while that is to a certain degree true, you look down throughout the ranks throughout this country and now other countries, there are a whole lot less people showing up to become officials than any other point in history. I can tell you just from going and scouting games or whatever, we can all yell about the officials don't know this or that or whatever, but none of us watching this are probably signing up to be an official. So therein lies the problem. There are less people willing to do it. So If I'm Roger Goodell, I better support the ones who are showing up. Otherwise, I got an even bigger problem. All right, brother Ken. So instead of Satan Roger Goodell trying to do that which is right, he's doubling down on incompetency. What a joke! Yeah, and again, kind of like I just said, I get why he's doing it. I also get they need to do. In fairness, I think the NFL doesn't do a great job in conditioning or preparing officials. Maybe that's a better way to word it. They need to address some of their mechanics for developing officials. If they do that, whether you want to say, hey, it's first time or full time officials or whatever, I just think a lot of these people, because again, I'm pointing out the shortages, they need to, instead of just trying to push people forward, just to have people on the field, they need to do what they can to make the crews feel more comfortable, take their time with them to make sure everybody knows nuances, put them through simulations so they understand what situations like this happens. They've dealt with it before, because I guarantee you probably Allen's crews never had this situation before. That way they're just shotgunning their way through it, and therein is where the mistake happens. So if you want to use a coaching standpoint, I put it on the coaches, in this case, the NFL, for not having the refs go through those situations where it's comfortable. Hey, I know what to do in this situation. So yeah, you're getting my point. Michael Stafford is a first alternate. Goff is a second alternate. Yeah, I can see that. I mean, hey, you're splitting hairs to certain degrees, but both of them had pretty decent seasons. All right, Southwest Goodell / some NFL owners have it in for the Lions. I would agree with that. They tried to take the Thanksgiving Day game away from them. Yeah, if you go back on the channel, I've done a couple deep dives into this over the last year or so. And so real quick, since 2006, Goodell's wanted to remove the game. He tried 5 different times to get it voted out from the Lions being able to hold on to the game, and they wanted to rotate it. Each of the times that was shot down, they didn't get enough owners to agree to it. And I do believe it's not a coincidence that the NFL started giving the Lions, or the Lions started receiving so many very oddball calls just a year or two after that began. So to me, where there's smoke, there's fire. And I know I've talked about it before. Robert, does anyone else think Mike Florio is a butt? I would say this. My opinion, I've even commented on his channel once or twice. And I don't watch him a ton, but his mannerisms, his voice, his body language definitely does change when he talks about the Detroit Lions. I'm going to go out on a limb and guess he is not a Detroit Lions fan, or he's got an axe to grind for some reason about the Detroit Lions. Brother Ken, we are never going to get the respect of the nation until we win the Super Bowl. I would agree, period. Yeah, 100%. You get to the Super Bowl this year, I would say that starts putting you in a whole different take. Now, if you get there and win it, then the nation's opinion of you would change exponentially. All right, Southwest, whoever the Lions play in the first round, if Goff can lead them to a playoff win, that would be huge. Winning the postseason is the next gorilla to get off their back. Yeah, really 100. I couldn't agree with you more. I would have thought it was a lot more locked in if you just asked me a day or two ago that the Rams were coming to town. I would have said, hey, 99.9% chance of that. But now that the Rams are sitting people, which I would say they're probably aware of the playoff situations. I would say this. We talked about it, I think, on yesterday's show, that I think the Rams are probably one of the better matchups for the Lions. And Lord and behold, later in the day, the Rams, we're going to, maybe not play to win this game. The only thing that tells to me is, just like any coach, when I'm coaching, any other coach, when you're looking at playoff situations, and if you can push your team to a more favorable matchup, you're probably going to do it. And I think that's 100% what Sean McVay is trying to do. He looks at probably the same stuff you and I have all looked at when analyzing that particular matchup. The Lions do have some strengths against the Rams. The Rams definitely have some weaknesses that hit the Lions' strengths. So therein lies the problem. If I'm Sean McVay, can I think of a way to get myself a better matchup? And as odd as it may be, he may think the Dallas Cowboys are a better matchup for his team. So go with it for them. Wish them well. We'll have to just take care of our own business and see who we end up getting, whether it's if it is the Rams, if it's the Packers, the Saints, or whoever it may be. Brother Ken, I'm not talking about getting to the Super Bowl. We're going to win that Lombardi. Yeah, we're going to go win the Lombardi. I'm down with that. And after all, that's the ultimate goal. That's why you're out there. Robert G, I was extremely mad too. But what's more important, living in the past or living in the future? Just saying, yeah, you got to move forward, fall forward, make mistakes. That's great. It happens. Things don't always go our way. You've got to be able to keep going forward, though. And if you do that, you're going to beat out more teams than not. All right, Southwest, it doesn't matter what other people think. As long as the Lions play like they are capable of playing, they can beat anyone. I would agree. They're probably not an ideal matchup for a lot of teams just because the running game, the offense, and you do have a defense that is starting to emerge a little bit. So if they can get more pressure on other quarterbacks, they do have some good setups here to make a bit of a run in the postseason. Hey, Mr. Nico, good morning. I read the script. Lions beat Stafford in Detroit. They beat Dallas in Dallas, and that's as far as I got. Hey, you got to leave something at the end. You don't want to know the entire outcome before it happens, right? So, hey, I get it, man, but I like the way you're going with that. Southwest, it's not productive to focus on things that you can't change or control. I'm sure MCDC will have the Lions ready. Yeah, 100%. They're ready to go. Robert, I'm liking your script. Woo! There we go. I don't want to do it too loud because I know sometimes people comment that, hey, or especially early in the morning, they don't want the whole Ric Flair. Eduardo, in my opinion, we are at a disadvantage if we play the Rams in the playoffs as they are resting their starters and we are not. Yeah, it could play a factor for sure. There's just no way to really know. I've seen teams rest in the final week. I've seen teams rest, play their starters for a quarter or a half and then rest. And then my point being that there's no real proven way what's going to work or not going to work. We all have ideas, but I can think of 2 years ago when the Green Bay played their starters for a half against us, rested the entire second half, and then they went out and did not play well against whoever it was. I don't remember the playoffs, and they end up losing. So did they really get an advantage out of it? It's tough to say. Maybe somebody's got some more data to back that up than what I have or have looked into. And if you do, feel free to throw it at us. Put it in the comment section. All right, Eduardo, if there's one thing I've learned about this team, it's that the entire coaching staff is stubborn, not just AG. I would agree. There's a lot of that going on. A lot of that, and some of that, they're going to have to learn to evolve beyond that. Brother Kansas Southwest, I totally disagree. It doesn't matter what other people think. Why do you think the officials can job is one expect to repercussions? Come on, man. And yeah, they should get repercussions for it, and they will. I just think if I'm the NFL, I got to protect the officials, and I got to admonish them behind closed doors, not publicly. So I get that part, man. All right, Wardo, DC better not cost us a playoff game with stupid decisions. All I'm saying, hey, let's think positive. Let's think, hey, he's going to come through. He's going to learn from some stuff in the past, like all of us, and move forward from it. Boo, what do you got? Good morning, Duke Crew. Win home playoff game, exclamation point. Then worry about whatever is next. Yeah, 100%. Yeah, you can't worry about 3 games down the road. You got to focus on this game right here and now. So, less than 2 weeks from now, we're going to be playing that playoff game. All right, Southwest, it is what it is. When Philadelphia lost to the Cardinals, that gave Lions reason to play their starters and to go for it Sunday. Yeah, I agree. You don't have a huge chance, but I would say this. Does anybody think the Philadelphia Eagles can lose to New York? I mean, they nearly did just a couple of weeks ago. So to me, it is quite possible. And Philadelphia has not played well in several weeks now. Dallas, do they have at least some possibility to play against or lose to Washington? I'd say yeah, they could. The other part is both of the matchups that these teams are facing, these are teams that aren't going to the postseason. They are going out to play spoiler. They can go for it on every 4th down, trick play, whatever. So when you're playing against somebody with house money, it's hard to always predict what they're going to do. And they're playing loose. You're playing tight, especially the longer the game stays relevant. It could happen for sure. And I think to MCDC's point, as I said earlier, you don't want to not go for the win and then later find out that, you know what, both teams lost, we could have had it, because then you'd be kicking yourself in the butt. All right. Anyways, Wardo, in the playoffs, points are hard to come by, and you take them any opportunity. Yeah, I agree, because it the speed of the game gets so much faster, and I don't think I always noticed it when I would watch a game on TV or whatever on film, but you get on the field, like at Ford Field or, Soldier Field or wherever, and you're on that sideline, taking pictures or notes or whatever it is, and you watch how much faster the hits are, the people moving down the field. Yeah, people ramp up to a whole nother level in the playoffs. All right, Jason, I'm a bit apprehensive about the possibility of facing the Packers. I still believe we will win. Love's stats are similar to Rodgers in his first year. Yeah, to your point, Jason, the Packers, their defense is probably what would give me the most pause out there because they can get after the quarterback 100%. I don't think it's as strong of a possibility for the Rams to get after the quarterback consistently. But hey, there's a reason why all these teams will or are potentially going to make the playoffs. They've got some abilities, they got some weapons, they've got some stuff going for them. It's just going to be coming down to matchups. And again, not to belabor a point, but if I'm Sean McVay, that's the reason why I'm sitting these starters. I'm thinking, hey, one, I want to make sure everybody stays healthy, and two, I think I'm going to get a more favorable matchup if this team wins and we lose, because you're basically, by resting people, you're not trying to play to win. So you're almost saying, hey, we're okay losing because that's going to push us to this matchup more than likely versus that matchup. So just my opinion. You guys can obviously disagree and feel free to do so. All right, Brother Ken. We get hosed and no repercussions. That Southwest line is a mindset, brother. Yeah, I agree that we got hosed on it, and what the NFL is going to do about it, probably not too much. All right, Eduardo, and as someone pointed out, if someone important gets injured on Sunday, that puts us at a disadvantage in the playoffs, all because Dan and company want to be stubborn, playing for a 1% chance. There's truth to that for sure. And I'm not saying which is the right way to do. I'm not doing that. I'm just saying I get why he's doing it, because again, if those other teams lose and you would have got the number 2 seed, but at some point you are splitting hairs between the number 2 seed and the number 3 seed, to your point, Eduardo. All right, last year New York rest their starters. They won wild card weekend. That is true, but the other point is, like I was saying earlier, you see examples of teams resting their starters the final game of the season and then losing the playoff game. So maybe there's more data than I have that suggests, hey, you have an exponentially better opportunity to win if you rest. I'm just not privy to it. All right, Robert G., I would rather keep the momentum heading into the playoffs. I think that could be another part, too, of it. Resting players can have a momentum kill, in my opinion. Yeah, if the Lions go out and lose and they lost 2 in a row, I think that could also be playing a factor in it. But let's also not forget, this doesn't mean Minnesota's just rolling over for you. They're probably coming out to finish their season strong. And while they still have a chance, it is minute. They are playing to get into the postseason. All right, Bit Lady, good morning, Coach. It looks like a lot of playoff-bound teams will rest some starters. 49ers, Rams, and others. Lions are still saying they are playing the starters, just not leading on how long. Yeah, just not leading on how long. Yeah, I think, and I know I talked about it a little bit earlier, Bit Lady. I think a lot of it from the defensive standpoint is you want to get some things worked out with some of the guys coming back before a playoff game. The offense, man, who knows how long those guys will stay out there. Will they stay for the entire game? Will it just be a series or two? I guess, we'll have to wait until the game to find out. Bit Lady, by the way, it seems J-Mo is still day-to-day with the ankle. Yeah, and I would kind of probably anticipate he's not playing Sunday. I could have been wrong before, but that would be my anticipation. Eduardo, Minnesota didn't rest their starters and they lost to New York. Yeah, this is true. That's what I'm saying. I don't know if there's data one way or the other that really says, hey, you're going to have a 20% better chance if you rest guys. Because like I said, I can think of several examples of teams that rested in the final game of the regular season and then lost the wild card round or first game of the playoffs. All right, Southwest, it's a risk to go for the win without a doubt. I'm okay with him doing it, though, even if the odds are slim that they'd get the 2 seed. Bit Lady, practice squad elevations to the playoffs, rest So a little bit surprised they cut Bruce Irvin. He might have another team interested. Not that he was spectacular, just saying. Yeah, I almost wonder. So I know somebody brought this up in the chat yesterday. I think it was during when I was going live about Bruce Irvin. Somebody said a comment about Bugs and maybe Irvin not being really cultural fits, personality fits, however you want to term it, for this coaching staff. And there could be some truth to that. They, both of them, made some plays here and there for sure. Bugs, I think, is fairly liked by the fan base. But that being said, it does seem like the Lions coaching staff had some issues with him for whatever reasons, and just decided, hey, with Mcneil coming back plus some of these other guys, we're going to go in a different direction. We just don't see a big win here or there with him. Irvin, he had some good plays against the Saints. We haven't seen much from him since. It does seem like he got his hurt a little bit here and there. So these all could be contributing factors as to why he was chosen to not be returned. All right, Susan, what do you got? Greetings and salutations all. Bring on the pack. Might just happen. It might just happen. Brother Ken, as the Lions get healthier, they're going to end the season the same way they started, with a bang. Yeah, I get that. Yeah, they're going for the win. I think they want to have momentum going into that postseason game. All right, Wardos at Southwest. 2 seed hopes died when they lost last weekend. So no need to be stubborn and risk something for a 1% chance. Need to get over themselves and avoid injuries to key guys. Yeah, we'll see how long they play. I mean, who knows? Maybe it's just a series or two. Maybe it's the full game. That part none of us will know unless MCDC comes out and says something before the play or before the game. All right, Southwest, the most important thing is to get out of this game, is to play well. You want to go into the playoffs playing well. Yeah, 100%. Bit Lady, Vikings looking for their slim chance to go to the playoffs. They will be coming. Go Lions and do crew. Yeah, they're going to be coming out all guns blazing because, again, they have nothing to lose. They don't win, their season's over. They win, they at least have some chance to continue on. All right, Brittany, what do you got? Good morning, Duke Crew. I love the fact MCDC is playing to win Sunday. Let's do this. Yeah, some people will love it. Some people won't. There's no wrong way to dissect it. Go with whatever works best for you. Eduardo, everyone is loving this whole play to win Sunday until someone major gets hurt. Then it will be wish we would have rested. 100%. Yeah. And, most of us live in a revisionist world. So, I mean, they go out and win. Nobody gets hurt. Hey, it was the right move. They go out there, win. Somebody, gets hurt. Everybody's going to be pointing fingers. It's part of how we're wired. All right, Bet Lady. Lately, Lions D seems like for teams like Vikings, Dallas, Rams, we play close off one dimension, meaning focus, stop the run, and superior wide receiver. Let him get his stuff and hope for some critical stops. There's probably some truth to that. In a basketball standpoint, I'd say, hey, we're going to shut down all the non-dominant players and allow the one dominant player or two dominant players to get theirs. We're just going to make sure nobody else can help out with it. So to your point, in a football standpoint, you're also right. The Lions are not doing anything different to shut down a Justin Jefferson or CeeDee Lamb. They're letting them get theirs. They're just trying to focus on making sure nobody else really assists them too much. And they're hoping a couple of guys can make a few plays here and there. All right, Jerome, good morning, Coach. How are we looking as far as injuries going into the last game of the regular season? Overall, I'd say the health is pretty well. I know Decker still dealing with that groin a little bit. Obviously, he gutted out in Dallas. I got to imagine he's going to gut it out this weekend and probably the rest of the season. The one person I think that has a good potential not to play this last game would be Jameson Williams, just with it being him being a wide receiver. You got an ankle injury. Why not let him rest and get that thing as right as possible for the postseason? We'll see what they do with him, though. All right, and Jason, which teams do you fear the most in the NFC playoff picture? I don't know, man. I don't really think there's an unfavorable matchup. I think most people will probably say for the Lions, it's going to be the 49ers. But to be honest, watching them, I think they can be got. I do think the Lions, I'm not going to say it's the best matchup for Detroit, but I do think the Lions could beat them. Dallas, obviously, somebody can beat. Philadelphia, if you would ask me a month ago or 2 months ago, I probably said they might have been the worst matchup. But they're not playing well at all, and mobile quarterbacks aren't gashing us like they once did. So I don't think there's a bunch of great matchups for us. I don't think there's a bunch of matchups that are terrible for us. But maybe that's the way just playoff football should ultimately be. Anybody's got an opportunity to win on any given Sunday. And I don't think the Lions are the team anybody's lining up to want to play. So maybe we should ask Jason, who doesn't want to play us? And I would say the first indication that some teams are thinking about we don't really want to go to Ford Field and play Detroit would be the Rams. The fact that they're sitting guys when they could basically force the hand and secure a spot for themselves, a matchup they want, they're kind of telling us, hey, we don't want to go to Ford Field. At least that's the way I view it with their comments and who they're resting and stuff going to this last regular season game. All right, Tori, greetings and salutations. Campbell is playing to win this week. We are getting healthy and guys back. Rams are sitting people, and if the Packers beat Chicago, we get that rematch at Ford Field. Yeah, 100%. I would say you're basically 100% right on that that's how everything would line up there. Eduardo, San Francisco. Yeah, it could be. Yeah, I would say they're probably the less ideal matchup, but I think they're a matchup that could be had. I think we could beat them. All right, Robert, in my opinion, the Lions will handle the Vikings the way they handle the Broncos and have 2 1,000-yard rushers. Woo! Yeah, if they could do something like that where they get up, 20, 27 points or something like that, maybe late in the third quarter, if any starters are still out there, you're probably pulling them at that point and letting them rest as much as possible. All right, Jason, bit lady Jason, Barry, we fear no one. They fear us as La Decker. Yeah, I would agree. There's probably not a lot of teams that I think the Lions are looking at and going, we're going to try to avoid that matchup. Now, there are some teams that can hit some of our weaknesses for sure, and the Packers are one of them. They can get after the quarterback. So we'll have to see what happens one game at a time. And really, the next game up is Minnesota, so let's focus on that. All right, Hooker time. The Buffalo Bills, who are a legit Super Bowl team this weekend, could win their division or not even make the playoffs. I saw that. They could be like the number 2 seed or not even be in the postseason. So, man, what an odd situation that is. You won't see that pop up in your lifetime too often. All right, Southwest, I'd be okay if MCDC changed his mind and rest of the starters. I'd agree with that. I don't think there's a bad way to go one way or the other with it. The odds on getting the 2 seed are slim. It would be just the Lions' luck to lose a key player. It would be. And you know what? If somebody goes down with an injury, everybody's going to be pointing fingers saying it's the stupidest move ever. So I get that part. Now, come out and rest everybody, and then you lose the first game of the playoffs. Everybody's going to say the opposite. Wow, we should have played. They were rusty. They didn't look great. They didn't look sharp. We got hit with things we weren't prepared for. Man, Garner Johnson looked lost out there. We didn't know how to use them. So you guys have to understand that's part of coaching. There is no wrong answer. It's just if you win, you are correct. And that's really the end of it. All of our conversations, I can tell you this, in the world of coaching, it's all best guess. You have to go with your instincts. And I know we talked about it with MCDC going for the 2-point conversion over and over again. That's what he felt was right. If you would have got it, hey, he was right. He didn't get it. He was wrong. And that's all he's doing right here. We're all going to pick apart whatever the results are. All right, John Snow, congrats on all the guys who made the Pro Bowl. Yeah, I think Lions had some good representation there for sure. Jason at Southwest agreed. Play well Sunday, rest, dominate in the playoffs. Agreed. Brother Ken, history lesson. Bobby Knight, Bill Belichick, Vince Lombardi, Scotty Bowman. The officials never screwed their teams over because they'd have held to pay for it. That's respect. Yeah, agreed, 100%. Yeah, it doesn't mean they never got disfavorable calls, but nowhere near what the Detroit Lions get. All right, Eduardo, Troy, I don't think Green Bay wins this weekend. A lot of people are underestimating how good the Bears team is. If Fields doesn't miss a month of the season, they'd be in the playoffs. Yeah, I think you've got a pretty fair point that if Fields would have played all season, they might have just be in the playoffs. So good point there. So 100%. All right, Sosimo, greetings, salutations. Let's get Hooker on the field Sunday. There is some potential for it, I guess. Yeah, 100%. So we'll see what happens. So if Goff in the offense, the starting offense, only plays a couple maybe drives or whatever, maybe the first quarter, I do think you probably get Teddy Bridgewater probably a quarter or two, just in case something if he's needed. And then maybe in the fourth quarter, yeah, Hooker gets in there for a limited amount of reps. Eduardo, Chicago will beat Green Bay. Yeah, there's a strong possibility of that. Southwest championship teams don't have a victim mentality. Much as I believe the Lions got messed over in Dallas, it's not going to help them to have that mindset. No, I think they're using it as rocket fuel to come out there and takes their aggression and anger out on another team. 100%. All right, Michael Montgomery has 975 yards. Gibbs has 915 yards. Yeah, it'd be something if you could get both guys to 1,000, wouldn't it? Now, do you go for it at the risk of injuring either one of them? Maybe not, but it would be a heck of an achievement. Maybe if we could just get the Vikings, to kick us the ball, give us to it with 99 yards to go, and then get Gibbs one play for 99 yards. Hey, get him off the board, and then maybe you can get something from Montgomery for 25, and then get them out of the game. All right, Bit Lady, Southwest Lion agreed. I also believe the other element is MCDC wants the young Lions to experience playoff football without the devastating impact of losing. Just the taste to get rid of any pre-jitters, 100%. Yeah, because again, the game will change exponentially as soon as it's a playoff game. It will move up to a completely different speed and physicality. Dean, when he got the greetings and salutations, I'm just glad the Lions aren't saying, "Oh, always us," after the Cowboys game. Let's get fired up and ready to go. 100%. Yeah, you can't worry about the past. You can only go forward. Jason at Bit Lady, good point. We have to be the most motivated team in the NFL at this moment. Thank you, refs. Woo! Yeah, and I don't think you're wrong by that in any stretch, Jason. I think, yeah, they're doing it right. They're handling it right. They're using that unfortunate situation to move forward and say, hey, we're going to now even be more focused. All right, Southwest, absolutely. The Bears could beat the Packers. The way the Bears are playing right now reminds me of how the Lions were playing towards the end of last year. Yeah, that's a good comparison. Hooker time, kind of sad to see the season end. Excited for the playoffs. So, yeah, so it's a give and take. Every time you win, you're going to be able to extend your season a little bit further. But ultimately, for all the teams, about 5 weeks from now, the season will be fully over. Roughly 5 weeks. All right, Kurt, maybe it's 7 weeks. Anyways, Kurt, MCDC has this team fired up and ready to go. He does, 100%. Jason, FF is going to be fired up Sunday, and man, think about what it would be like for the playoff opener. Ford Field, gotcha. All right, gotcha. Yeah, Ford Field will be fired up. And yeah, I can only imagine what it's going to be like for that playoff game. Brother Ken, what's wrong with you? Victim mentality has nothing to do with it. It's called fair and impartial calls. Back to life and reality. All right, we'll go with that. All right, Hooker time. The greatest Super Bowl would be Cleveland versus Detroit. That would be the best. Come on, NFL, you need to script that. Hey, it would be the first time since 57 these guys met in the championship game, and it would be a throwback to, man, a different time for the league. So you're right. That would be something for sure. But one of the things I've got for you guys that I would throw at you guys is, what do you guys think that would mean to the league or those individual cities? Because I'll say this, I've got some friends who are Browns fans. Obviously, everybody watching this is probably a Lions fan, I would assume. I get there's a few guys out here that aren't exactly Lions fans or whatever, but they still come to the channel because they enjoy it. But let me know what you guys would think that would mean to the whole NFL if the Browns and Lions were able to face off in the Super Bowl. I got to imagine it'd be pretty marketable. I got to imagine, man, the hype train would be real. But what do you guys think? All right, Southwest Bit Lady MCDC said it was a blessing what happened in Dallas, and I think he said that because they got the experience of a bitter loss without being in the playoffs. Hopefully, they learn from it. 100%, yeah. I knew we were going with that. I figured better was bitter, so I got you, man. All right, Southwest, yeah, Cleveland versus Detroit Super Bowl would be epic. It would be, and man, would they change the site just because both teams are so close to each other? They really need to go to Vegas for that. Property Lord, good morning, all. Good morning to you, too. Robert G. Flacco and the Browns will go down in the first round. It might happen. It definitely could happen. Jason, we have the building blocks for a nice 5-year plus run. Momentum is building. It is. And, yeah, Keep drafting well. You could be around for a while. All right, Don Burr, Goff has to stop turning the ball over. He flips the field more than often. Field goals count when he gives the opponent the ball back in their 40-yard line. Yeah, can't have turnovers, especially in the playoffs, because the game, sort of like last weekend, it's just the nuances between winning and losing are so small. All right, Southwest, it's all about what you focus on, Brother Ken. If the players are focusing on what happened in the past, it's not the present, they're going to play well. Okay, we'll move. Haters House, greetings and salutations. Go Lions. Glad you're here this morning. JK, we'll up to you too. I'm not really sure what that is, but we'll go with it, man. All right, Don Burr, we have building blocks Hutchinson, Branch, St. Brown, Sewell, Jack Campbell, Aleem, McNeil, Gibbs, JMO. We do. We've got some real strong young pieces. All right, in Southwest, Goff needs to play better. That second interception, especially, no excuse for that. Yeah, it happens, man. It does happen. Trump's Dean Blandino is a piece of garbage. All right. Don't hold back. Tell us what you really think, man. All right, Ken, good morning, Coach. Greetings and salutations. Let's go Lions. Let's go Lions. Let's get ready for that playoff game. Good morning, JK. Good morning. Good morning to you, too. Southwest line, I'd like to see the Lions jam the receivers at the line of scrimmage, throw off QB timing with the receiver. That would not be bad. I just question whether or not they have the corners to do that. I do think Branch can do it. Gardner Johnson can do it. Probably Iffy, I'm guessing, if he was to be up there because of his size and his mass, could do it. Sutton, Jerry Jacobs. Jacobs might be better than Sutton. I'm trying to think who else. Vildor, I couldn't say offhand. I haven't watched him enough. But we do have some guys who could do it. Yeah. Michael Brad Holmes and his staff is building this team for the long haul. Can't wait to see who he adds in the offseason and draft with 4 picks in the top 100. Yeah, let's be fair, his drafts have been off the chart good. So, yeah, he should do pretty well. Mile marker, good morning, Duke Crew. MCDC has a fired up team. Amara on his podcast said he feels like he could, quote, could run through a brick wall, 4 brick walls. All right, well, that's good because he's about to hit the postseason, and he's going to need that mentality. All right, Ed, good morning, Coach. Congrats to all the Lions who made the Pro Bowl. Also, congrats to you, Coach. This chat is so good. We have to get on here an hour before the show goes live. I have noticed that, hey, you guys love the channel, you love the morning show, and I'm just happy to provide it for you guys, and I'm happy everybody's a part of it. So I enjoy this part of my day, and I'm guessing some of you guys do as well. So yeah, I'm happy for everybody. How about that? All right, Jason, great show, Dan. Congrats on hitting 5K mark on subscribers, 10K by the Lions Super Bowl. I like the way you're thinking. It's very positive, and let's hope we can Mountain Dew that, make it happen. So, yeah, 10K, that'd be, oof. I never thought I'd get 1K, man. Let's be honest. I just did this for fun, and yeah, something happened, I guess. Must have been all the Mountain Dew chatter. All right, Derwin, morning Dew family, bring on the Packers. I am so scared of what Stafford can do to our secondary. It could be, who knows what we're going to face. I guess we'll probably know by 8 p.m. Sunday night, so only a couple days away. But whatever it's going to be, I'm just looking for the team being in the playoffs. And you know what? Whoever comes to Ford Field, I pity the fool. All right, Derwin, have a blessed day, everyone. Same to you, Derwin, and hope you have a great day, man. All right, Matthew, greetings and salutations. Good morning, everyone. Good morning to you, too. Don, long as it's a controlled fire up, this team is young. It is young. Matthew, congrats on 5.4K. Thanks for that. Yeah, never saw it coming, man. Never saw it coming. Southwest, Seattle may be the beneficiary of another Packers loss. That game against the Bears is not a gimme at all. No, I think that will be a slugfest, 100%. JK, Saints would be the easier team, though. You could be right there, even though obviously down there we played them, to the last seconds on that game. So we'll see what happens. Like I said, probably by 8 o'clock Sunday night, Eastern Standard Time, we'll have a pretty good idea who we're playing. All right, Don, I think Packers win that game. Packers D-line will be a factor versus the Bears' mediocre O-line. Okay. Phil, doobie to Coach, doobie do to you too, Phil. Jason, any possibility to see Hooker for a quarter? I think there is a possibility. as long as the game's not on the line, I think, yeah, there's an opportunity. Phil, 99 cents. My morning Mountain Dew is on you, my friend, and thank you for that. I think that will leave about a 16-cent left over, and I'll leave that for Bobby. Hey, as I often tell her, man, it all adds up, and yeah, she does a great job there at the Circle K. All right, Dash, good morning, everyone. Good morning to you, Dash. Hopefully you're having a good one. Good to see you. I know it's been a couple days since we've seen you. All right, Michael, Pro Bowl Goff, better stats than Stafford, and Montgomery had better stats than Swift, too. It is what it is. Sometimes, let's be fair, the Pro Bowl is a popularity contest to a certain degree. Phil, St. Brown, 4th-round pick. All this does is make the chip on his shoulder bigger. You know what? That is a great point, Phil. I'm sure he is aware that where he isn't as far as this offseason and the Pro Bowl. So you're right. This may add even more fuel to that young guy's fire. All right, Brent, good morning, Coach and Duke Crew. I agree we need to win to keep the pressure on the other teams, especially Dallas, if they fold on the road. Yeah, if they fold, and, man, if New York can pull that off, that would be something. Burns, every Lions fan knew the refs were going to mess over the Lions if it was close, and guess what happened? The refs messed us over. Yeah, they did, and unfortunately, you leave that opportunity out there by keeping the game close. And you know what? Once again, the officials got the Lions. Phil, why are you not applying to ref NFL games? Man, I don't want nothing to do with that, man, to be honest. I get the pays pretty good. I don't remember exactly what they're up to. I want to say the average NFL, don't hold me to this, guys, but I want to say the average NFL official gets, I don't know, $250 a year, something like that. And some of the more premium ones or the lead officials, I'm sure, are closer to $380. Again, don't hold me to that, but I think that's about right. JK, Bruce Irvin got old quickly over the holidays. Maybe he did. Maybe he had a little bit too much Christmas cookies and lost the step. Who knows, man? All right, Broski, Stafford made the Pro Bowl. He did. Yep, he did. Chad, Pro Bowl isn't about only about the stats. Stafford is making a rookie look like a Pro Bowler. Goff is surrounded by Pro Bowlers. That you got some points there for sure. Doug, morning, Dan, and fellow Lions fans. Good morning to you, dude, to Doug, and hopefully you're able to do one. Eduardo Florio is a Vikings fan. When he talks about anything in division, he is really biased. That's why I don't listen to anything he has to say about in division. If you are in media, you shouldn't be biased. Yeah, you shouldn't be in. At least some people, like, I know it's not NFL stuff, but Rich Eisen is incredibly upfront that he is biased about the Michigan Wolverines. And I get it. That's his team or whatever. As long as you don't try to hide it, I don't have a problem with it. I think it probably plays better if you do that. Florio doesn't do that. He tries to say, I'm not biased. I'm not this. I'm not that. I'm just, hey, I've been around for 100 years. I can be non-biased. And he's not. Whenever he talks about the Lions, to your point, Eduardo, I haven't really listened to him talk about the Packers or Bears, but I'm assuming based on your commentary that he's the same way for them as he is against Detroit, and really own it if that's the way you're going to be. Don't try to sell everybody, sugar pills and say, I'm as neutral as can be, because he is clearly not when he talks about us. All right, Ken, I ripped Florio and Sims for being pot-smoking meathead, to say it nicely. All right, we'll go with that, man. Doug, wild card round, Lions 38, Rams 6. Let's see if we can make that happen. I wonder if Stafford asked McVay if to push playing the Lions as long as possible. It could be. Or maybe he asked not to. I don't know. They're sitting their guys, so I would say that's at least some indication that McVay, maybe even Stafford, didn't want to go to Ford Field. Renee, salute to Lions Talk Live. Thank you for that. Thank you very much for that. Lincoln Clay, so would you lay down as a coach to get the matchup you're looking for? Ooh, that's a tough one, man. I hate to say it, but if I thought there was a team we absolutely had a vastly, and I want to make sure I'm saying that, vastly better matchup against, that would be tough on me, man. I guess I would have to think about it. It's just not my nature to not go for wins. And I guess I'm lucky enough if it's never bit me in the butt, and maybe I've never even really had to think about it, I guess. But yeah, to me, you play who's out in front of you. And, to me, as a coach, I want my team to have my mentality as much as possible. We're going to face whoever's on that other side. We're going to go do everything we can during the game to kick the crap out of you. We're going to come out after you. We're going to hit you with trick plays. We're going to do whatever. So we're going to do everything we can to whoever we play to intimidate, go after, and be respectful. I mean, not saying anything dirty or anything, but we're going to play physical. We're going to play hard. We're going to play fast, and we're going to come after you. You are going to be intimidated by us when we go out there and that first whistle blows. So I guess that's what I would say. I really wouldn't be worried about the matchups. I'd say you got to worry about us. We're not worried about you. What do you got? It's Uncle Buzz. I don't always keyboard well. It happens, man. Uncle Buzz. So it's I'll go with that. Uncle Buzz. At least now I know what it is. So that works, man. And thanks for clarifying that, Uncle Buzz. All right, Robert G. With the Rams resting players shows respect to the Lions. I would agree with that. If they fall to the bottom of the seeding, shows they would rather go play the Cowboys than the Lions. Yeah, and that's kind of where I'm going with it as well, Robert. That if McVay wanted the Lions, you got an opportunity to make that happen. McVay and Stafford are saying, nah, we're good. If it happens, it happens, but we're not going to make it happen. Phil, Eagles, Matt Patricia effect. Could be some truth to that. Phil, the NFL wanted a Dallas win in overtime. Dan wasn't giving it to him. Yeah, there could be a lot of truth to that. All right, Michael. Yes, Phil, it cost them money. 5.5 spread. Yeah, it did. Yeah, there was a lot of money on that game for sure. 9 drinks. Is Sue coming to replace Bugs? Not that I am aware of 9 drinks. I think it's more Mcneil coming to replace Bugs. Ken, folks, don't forget to hit that like button. Yeah, I have no idea what the like is. I know I tell you guys that. If you haven't yet subscribed to Lions Talk Live, please consider doing so. I think we need about 90 or 80 more subs to hit 5,500. If you can do your part to help out with that, I would really be thankful. And also, if you're enjoying the show and the content on the channel, hit the thumbs up button. Southwest, Dan, if Lions and Eagles win, but the Cowboys lose, wouldn't the Lions get the number 2 seed? From what I know, Southwest, we need both the Eagles and Cowboys to lose in order to make that happen. So one of the Cowboys or Eagles wins, then yeah, we don't get it. And I don't know all the logic behind it, but I believe that is correct. JK, if Eagles fire Matt today, right now the whole team improves. Yeah, it could be true. So maybe we want Patricia to stay out there. All right, Mike, narrative does not suit Detroit. NFL is looking for a Dallas versus 49ers rematch. Ratings, what matter? If Detroit makes it some miracle, they should be respected for getting through a gauntlet. Yeah, then there will be a lot of truth to that. I will say this year and last year, I think there are a lot of people tuning in to watch Detroit that are not Lions fans. You do have some marketable guys on here, and I do think, unlike most teams, I think the Lions really nailed it on Hard Knocks a season ago, and I think that's helped with this. Southwest, why the Eagles hired Matt Patricia is beyond me. They had to know what there was bad blood between him and Darius Slay. If they didn't, they really were asleep at the wheel. Boo, I've seen teams do it both ways in consecutive seasons with mixed results. My thoughts, rest anyone nursing something, play guys who need the reps. I agree with that. Yeah, that's a good one. Yeah, Bit Lady, yeah, I agree with that. Wadi, man, I'm killing that one, so I'm just moving on. JP, 5 Pro Bowlers for the Lions this year. Respect, yeah, they got some good notice, and who knows, maybe they even get something else. Rob, anyone looking forward to the mid-season bye that gives your starters time to rest and heal? I think ours helped a ton. Why is it not seen the final game? Who knows, man? There's, like we said in the show all day, there's no right or wrong with it. You want to rest guys to help protect them or help them rest up for the playoffs. I don't think anybody would say that's wrong. If you want to go for it because you have a chance to get the number 2 seed or whatever, the reasoning you have behind it to get more people reps and stuff, I get that as well. The only thing I would say is with Gardner Johnson coming back from this game, I get why you want to play him out there with a starting secondary, at least for a little bit, just so you're working out some of those kinks and nuances, setups now versus in the postseason game. So that part I get. All right, Lion King 2025 in Louisiana Super Bowl without Jared Goff is our time, not Vegas this season. Could be for sure. Phil, foot on the gas, always, man, always going fast forward. And I'm as a coach, I'm gonna do everything where you've got to waste all your time in practice trying to prepare for us. We're gonna do what we're gonna do, and it's your job to stop it. Let's see, Rob. When our offensive line is halfway down for the wild card, remember, or even worse, Goff gets injured. Yeah, and that will be the risk. Anytime you play a game, somebody could get hurt or injured or worn down. So you're 100% right on that, Rob. Brent, MCDC will play to win the game. I just hope we come out healthy and don't lose any of our key guys to injuries. Yeah, that's the risk you're going to run if you actually go for the win. So, like I've said throughout the show, somebody gets hurt, you're going to hear about it. You just hope it doesn't happen. Let's see. Lions will play their starters and to win. Yeah, it sounds like that's where they're going with it. Mike, Seattle is the worst matchup if they make the postseason. Yeah, they still have a chance to get in. And I would agree with you from a couple standpoints. They're not an ideal matchup for the Lions. Mile marker. Yesterday, I thought Dan Campbell said in his presser that J-Mo will not play this weekend. He may have, and if he did, I missed it. I apologize. Matthew, because of restrictions on practices, the best way to evaluate these returning players is in the game. Need to see them in games conditions before playoffs. Yeah, and I think, again, that's why they're having some of them out there, at least for a little while, just so they can get their feet wet, work on different packages with them. Because, again, to your point, you don't want to do that in the playoffs. Rob, I have no doubt they will. I just don't see the point. We're not getting the number 2 seed. Yeah, it's a long shot for sure. Yes, J-Mo is probably out. He's not playing injured players, but that doesn't mean we won't have more injured. Correct. Some other could get hurt. Sorry, folks, I forgot to report in. Well, we're glad you're here. And you know what? We're not going to throw a flag on you. Brent, greetings and salutations, 100%. Tark Cummings with Bugs and everyone cut. Where do you suggest we get our pass rush from? Is there another practice squad pickup? My guess is, Houston will be back for the playoff game. That we know. And even then, I think he's going to have limited snaps. Maybe I'm wrong. But your pass rush outside of Hutchinson, it's going to have to come from, whoever you put over on that other side. Is it going to be Burns at times, Campbell at times, Romeo Quara at times, Josh Pascal? I think it's going to have to come from basically a mixture of all of the above. JK, don't report to Brad Allen, though he'll ignore you. This is true. JD, eligible. You're correct. All right. Rob, the NFL conveniently has us an early game while Eagles and Cowboys play after us. Yeah, and I think they're doing that 1,000% just so they can say, hey, the Lions have a reason to play. You keep the drama going as long in the day because they also know that brings in ratings. Lions fans are going to be more apt to pay attention to those games. Eagles and Cowboys fans are going to be paying attention to our game. So I get it, man. It is a business, man. Mile marker, any news about Sheila's meeting with the commission? Nothing I have heard as of yet. But I also did think it was funny. The day after I reported that is when the NFL put out that video, that PR move on, hey, how to report. All teams, this is how you report. So don't make any mistakes about it, at least in my opinion. They scheduled that meeting, and then the day after they put that out, yeah, that's not coincidence, man. Big E, love the billboards around the state. Yeah, I've seen some of that. Those are good. Bit Lady, speaking about the 2-point play, did you hear the interview with MCDC on the ticket 97.1? That was funny. He laid it on the line. He told them, speak your mind. What do you really want to say? Yeah, I heard he basically just said, go with it. He wasn't going to hold back, and they shouldn't either. John King, Lions knocked Green Bay out last year. Don't want to give them a chance to return the favor. This is true. We'll see what happens. They've got to get past the Bears first, though. All right, to even have a chance. Phil, need a 2-hour show so everyone gets a chance to talk. Maybe some boy, I got to do that, but we're not there just yet. So I did try to get on. I think it was like 4 or 5 minutes early just to have us have a little extra time. Rob Newsom, the NFL must need Allen to take care of business in the Steelers Ravens game. It could be 9 drinks right on, Phil. Yeah, I'll work on it, man. Hey, right now we're getting an hour and 5. Let's go with that. Phil, my man, 9 drinks. Cheers. And cheers to 9 drinks always. A legend. Phil, later in the show, we can talk to each other. Phil, throwback uniforms for the Super Bowl. It might be. JK Cash. Yes. All right. Bengals boy, I would love to travel from Kentucky and see the Lions stick it to the NFL. Time to replace Roger Good for nothing. Yeah. And I was actually kind of surprised they re-upped his contract, whatever it was, a year or so ago. But I would also say from an owner's standpoint, hey, man, they're making huge profits. They're probably not going to rock the boat. Tim, go Cowboys. All right, we'll go with that. Broski, James Williams, only 25 receptions, 395 yards, 3 TDs so far in the first 2 seasons. At what point do you start calling him a bust? I would say he's, I get last year, it is what it is, man. He was coming back hurt, whatever. The first part of this year, obviously had the suspension, kind of slowed it to develop. But if you look over the last 5 weeks or so, I mean, somewhere in that point, I think he's been playing pretty well. Trent is your friend. He's adding a element to the offense that no other player currently on the offense has. So I would say I think he's doing pretty well. That's my opinion. Tim, I like the Lions. Okay, well, nothing wrong with that. Glad you're enjoying the Lions and hopefully the show. Matthew, the Battle of Lake Erie. Yes, go with that. I like that. Broski, I see that Montez Sweat is a Pro Bowl starter over Aiden Hutchinson. It happens, man. I mean, Sweat's had a good year without question. Hutchinson's had some strengths for sure, but he's, that doesn't mean Montez Sweat isn't deserving. Bit Lady, Broski Bear, maybe you don't know, but the first year Jameson was redshirted intentionally for the ACL injury. This year was a 6-game suspension due to gambling, so 0 offseason with Goff. Yeah, that's true. Yeah. Jerome, I pity the fool. Yeah, I do. I pity anybody who comes into Ford Field. I think we're going to go after him. Phil, saw it coming the first time I saw you with Micro Mike. About the channel. I'll go with that, and thanks for that. So thank you very much for that, Phil. Broski, Bit Lady, injuries and suspensions count towards being a bust, though. Has he really produced much when he's played, though? I can only offer my thoughts, and I think he's progressed very well. I did a deeper dive on it early in the year. You could see when he played in college, he was not really taught a ton, and this is my opinion. But watching his route progressions, his ability to use his elbows to switch directions or get in and out of breaks, his foot placements when trying to make cuts, he was incredibly raw. So my assumption is Brad Holmes and the crew knew this guy has got something. It's just he hasn't been taught much. He's going to be a developmental piece. Last year, obviously, he was recovering from the injury. This year, even at the start of the year, you could still see he had to continue to evolve and grow. To his credit, he's put in a lot of work, and he's now, I'm not going to say he's an elite NFL receiver by any means, but he's a comparable one. He's a pretty good one. And I think his upside is going to continue to happen over time. Probably this time next year would be my anticipation. The kid stays healthy, keeps working hard. You're going to see him turn some heads. That's my anticipation. Doesn't mean it's going to happen. All right, Rob, we will face the Rams. NFL we'll see to it. I think I can almost predict how the playoffs are going to go based on the matchups the NFL wants. There could be a level of truth to that. Bit Lady, I think at Broski, I think the potential is there enough for a game changer to see what happens after a full offseason with Goff. Yeah. We shall see. Yep, we will see. Rob, he's improving, Broski Barrett. That's all you can ask. Yep, he is getting better. A lot of it is because Goff can't throw the ball far enough to meet him in stride. This is true. Early in the year, yeah, Goff was underthrowing him a lot. And we keep wasting plays on non-connects. This is also true. Average NFL salary is for referees is $205K. Highest paid is $250. Yeah, okay. I was a little off on the top ref salary. All right, Harrisville. Goff just hit J-Mo with a 60-yarder with a guy hitting him in the chest. He can make the throw. He can. They just got to get, I think, more reps together. And like Bit Lady kind of said in the offseason, maybe firm some things up a little bit. All right, one or two more here, and it's been a minute and 5 or an hour and 5. I agree, Bet Lady. I don't think it's all JMO. Goff plays a role too. Timing is important. Lion King, Ravens Maven is truth on special teams. Yeah, he stands out, and you're seeing his time in the regular defense increase as well. Rob, hopefully Goff and JMO can practice together in the offseason and get the timing thing down. Yeah, agreed. Rob, I'm not talking about the distance. Yep. All right, Rob, making a long throw also involves timing, and JMO's speed has been an issue for Goff, but I think it's fixable. Yeah, they just got to get more time together. Brosmera, I am sending in my application for the $200K a year range to be a ref, but they haven't called yet. Yeah, it is a part-time job. Most of them, as you guys know, have other jobs as well. It's not like the NBA where they are full-time, and those guys, they might still have some side hustles, but yeah, you're doing that thing year round. You're doing G leagues if you're signed down, stuff like that. The NFL doesn't have that. I think it would be wise of them to try to, especially with younger developing crews, maybe work something out with the USFL or whatever, where, hey, we're having our crews come over, work there. But, we'll leave that for another show. All right, Alta Harry, let's get that number 2 seed. I think they're going to go for it and try. Is it a serious mistake to not play Irvin? Well, he's cut now, James, so he will be out and not an option. Trump, would you be a – oh, boy, here we go. All right, 9 drinks. What's that? We have Burns now. Barnes. Sorry, I misspoke earlier. All right, guys. It's been over an hour, so I got to go ahead and get ready to get work and everything. Got to hit that Circle K and get the morning Mountain Dew, and then get back and ready for work. If there is some breaking news later today, I'll try to hop on as quick as possible for it. It is a fairly lighter work day for me, so if something happens, I'll have more time for it. Hope you all enjoyed the morning show. If you haven't yet subscribed, please consider doing so, making a push to get to 5,500 subs by this weekend. If you can do your part to help out with that, I would be thankful. Hit that thumbs up button. Enjoy your day. Be kind to each other. And we'll see you all in the next Lions Talk Live. Take care, everybody.